Okay, this is like my third time trying to record this. If you hear running, that's my cats. Um, I don't think my fan is too loud. It just has a little bit of noise in the background. I did check it out. I did check it out. I can't turn it off because the area I am at in the house is that I know as soon as I turn off my fan, it starts getting hot. It is like 7 o'clock in the morning. You know what temperature is outside right now? Um, 74 degrees. 74 degrees. But anyways, my fan is on low. So I really hope my fan is not bothering anybody. I have noticed if I do it, I have to have it on one, then it's not as loud. But anyways, I'm sorry. Like I've been awake for hours since like 12 o'clock in the morning, and I have not fell asleep yet. So, well, actually, at 1 o'clock, but it was like 12 something. Me being sick here. Um, I may already said this, but if you hear running, it's my cats. This is the second part of Yamada. This is the second part of What is Owed and What is Earned by Yamadadzawa. And I hope you all are enjoying this so far. If you have not listened to the first part, please go check that out for the first part. Like I said yesterday at the end of the video, I don't know if y'all heard it. What was it? I had to cut this in half because I didn't really realize how long it was, and like I could have edited it together and stuff. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I could have, but you know we're just gonna cut it in half. It's fine. Um, but anyways, let's get on to it. Let's get on to the story, and I hope you'll enjoy. Izuku can't help it. He sit he sits up front next to it, as I always been say during the ride back from the provisional license exam, practically vibrating with how giddy he is. He he's shown he's shown his teacher the license at least 5 times now, and each time Aizawa Sensei does a fond little huff and hums and approvingly. Izuku pretty sure the man is tolerating his. Hold on. Izuku is pretty sure the man is only tolerating his boisterous energy. Being he's the only one on this bus, he truly knows what this means. All Might hasn't been surprised when, a few days after summer break began, Izuku declared that he wanted to tell Aizawa Sensei the truth, the whole truth, about One For All. Izuku could tell that he wanted to argue, and probably just because by instinct, but he ultimately agreed. This is it's been so long. Some it's been a long some hold on. I just heard a car pull up. And I'm pretty sure it's my neighbors. But I'm gonna say it's my neighbors. Yeah, it's my neighbors. He does have a loud truck. Anyways. Um what was I? It's been a long, somewhat painful conversation. This time, Izuku would argue that it was just as painful for him as it was for All Might. Izuku didn't get to yell at like Izuku didn't get to yell at like he imagined All Might did. But Aizawa Sensei genuinely looked hurt when he realized Izuku hadn't trusted him with the whole with the truth was rough. But I'm never really that one. Aizawa Sensei looked genuinely hurt when he realized Izuku hadn't trusted him with the truth was rough. He quickly he was quickly to forgive him because even after all the time, he was still weak to Izuku's tears. At this point, he gets it. He knows how much this means to Izuku. It was solid. It was solid proof that he was on the right track to use one for all and do his best to be a great hero, especially after what happened at the training camp at Kamino with All Might and All for One. Yeah, especially after that. He also understands that a lot of Izuku's energy right now is nervous energy. He he's mostly nervous for Todoroki, who failed the entrance. Yeah. He's most nervous for Todoroki, who failed the exam by a few points. He's nervous about how Endeavor will retaliate, and as always Sensei understands that. Hell, he probably a bit nervous about it too. Todoroki had, understandably, been upset with Izuku when he intentionally coaxed Todoroki into talking about his father and his treatment of his son. When Izuku knew that his teacher was right around the corner, Izuku tried to pass it off as an accident. But Todoroki had grown up lying, just as Izuku had, and could spot and could spot tell his tales immediately. Aizawa Sensei had started a case of with some of the staff at UA and contacts with police, like Detective Kacchan. I pronounced this last episode. Um, like Detective Tukachi. It was slow going, much slower than Izuku would like, but he understands that it's sensitive and tricky. That doesn't stop him from worrying about his friend's safety constantly. But Aizawa Sensei got Todoroki into counseling too, and had joined him in Izuku's after-school training sessions to help him work with his quirk. If those sessions happened to line up on the days that Endeavor would most likely be home, well, it's just a happy coincidence that they kept him on campus later they later those days. And now that they live in the dorms at this school, Endeavor's contact with Todoroki is even more limited. So with that, so, so that is probably so that so that would probably be fine. But Izuku is more work. But Izuku is also worried about Katsuki. He done a decent job of distancing distancing himself since the final exam. Although during although he what the fuck was that? God, what are my neighbors up to? Um, sorry. He done assume that's like it's thunder going off. No, I'm talking a lot. Sorry. Um, he done a decent job of distancing himself since the final exams. Although he did join the rescue team with Kirishima and the others with absolutely no hesitation, and, ha- and hasn't and hasn't that been a fun topic for him and his therapist to explore, especially because as much as he wanted to rescue Katsuki, he's also mad at him for leaving the safety of the lodge. If he stayed if he stayed where he was told to, maybe he taken wouldn't have been taken been been put in so much danger. So sue him. He's worried. Katsuki passed the exam, but just barely. That was my alarm, sorry. Izuku doesn't know how close he was to falling, but it must have been pretty bad because he skipped out um oppressive rage and gone right to silence. Scary rage. Whenever, whatever, whether, not whatever, whether that's because he's gotten better control of himself as a result of therapy, or because he was actually dangerously angry. Izuku isn't sure. He hopes that it's not the latter. He he's really hopes that it's the latter that it's not the latter. When he stupidly agreed to meet Katsuki outside to talk later that night. But he doesn't know what else to do. Not when Kacchan, damn it, mentioned his quirk. Any hope that any any and all hope that Izuku had going for Katsuki ongoing improvement vanished the second he demanded that Izuku fight him. Still, now, after all this time, is that really only the way for them to handle this? This is it. It is is this all he could hope to expect? Hitting, fighting, and yelling, is that it? If if it is it, if it is all Katsuki has to offer after all this time, maybe Izuku is ready to give up on him. Izuku refused over and over, even as Katsuki rushed at him. He won't do this. He's done doing this. And then Kacchan is flying at him, just like he did at the first day, when when Aizawa Sensei stopped him. But Aizawa Sensei isn't here, and Izuku could fight back this time. He knows he could, but he won't. He's sick and fucking tired of doing things Bakugo Katsuki's way. And Izuku's way is clearly not working. He feels numb. Even as Katsuki is getting closer and closer, in a split second before Kacchan's hand makes contact with his face, he stops on his own. He stops so suddenly that his collision with Izuku and the two of them crash to the ground. Izuku stumbled to his feet. He knows better than to stay down, so he gets to his feet and backs away out of reach. Katsuki stays down, raising rising to his hands and knees. Why? I just don't. Why do you have to be you? He spits out. He 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 doesn't he doesn't clarify, but Izuku knows what he means. He clenches his he clenches his fist clenches at his side and bares his teeth in a snarl. Why wouldn't it be me? He retorted. And he catches Kacchan off guard. He knows he does. He lifts his head. Oh my god. His head lifts, red eyes widen in shock. The expression doesn't last long, but it's still satisfying to see him speechless, even for a second before anger returns. That's enough! A firm voice barked from the side. Both of them jumped and turned. Izuku blatches as he sees both Aizawa Sensei and All Might standing there. He doesn't know how long they've been there, but it doesn't really but it doesn't really matter. Not Nothing about this looks good. Aizawa Sensei pushes All Might towards Bakugo, and then he jerks his head towards the dorms, and Izuku knows what he meant by that. He spares a final look at Katsuki, and he wonders what All Might will say to him, but he doesn't take too long to realize that he doesn't care. So he nods and walks to Aizawa Sensei's side, and together they began to walk back to the dorm in silence. An anger, an anguished voice cuts through, and even from this far away, he can clearly hear Katsuki say, "Why was I the one that ended you? I Even if I try not think about it, it won't leave my head. I don't know what to do." Izuku stumbles to a stop. Um, only only that crack only and it only the cracking of his teeth together that alerted him to the fact that he is shaking and cannot stop. He cannot breathe. Because Kacchan needs his arms around him suddenly, firm and strong, pulling him to Aizawa Sensei's chest. As he lets go and clings to the man, choking on a big heavy sob. He doesn't know what to do either. He doesn't know that Kacchan needs help, but he can hear it. He knows that Kacchan needs help. He can hear it. He never heard Kacchan sound like that before, but he doesn't know what to do. So he cries and cries until he falls silent. He's not sure if Aizawa Sensei says anything. He he doesn't think so. Not, but not. That's not his. He's not. He's not convinced. He would notice either way. The rest of the walk. The rest of the walk is a daze. The next thing he knows, he's sitting in the common rooms of the teacher's dorms with a mug of his favorite tea. He curls his hand around the warmth and just breathes. Inhales the scent and holds into the warmth and breathes. Holds onto the warmth and breathes. He's not sure how long it's been before All Might walks in with Katsuki, and he sees both of them enter. But he couldn't bring himself to look his classmate in the eye, so he focuses on his tea. But but what for what it's worth, Katsuki doesn't look at him either. He walks straight to Aizawa Sensei on the couch across the room. The teacher set aside the book he was reading and stands. "So, is this it?" Tension mounts in the silence as always Sensei considers Katsuki looking him over and drifts his eyes drift briefly to Izuku before he turns his attention back to the boy in front of him. No, but you'll first, but you'll, no, he finally says, but you will begin the first 2 days of, two, the first 2 days of the terms on house arrest, except you'll be, except for your previous standing sessions. Izuku isn't surprised. He himself has one day had gone out after curfew. Bakugo has more. Bakugo probably has more because he tried to get Izuku to fight, almost attacking him. He is surprised when Katsuki barely reacts to this, besides a short grunt of acknowledgement. Izuku can tell that he's not done though. That there is something he wants to ask. As always Sensei can tell as always Sensei can tell too, it seems. He waits, arms crossed in front of him. Bakugo glances at Izuku and doesn't look angry. But I can go, Izuku offers. As Katsuki's lip curls and he glares. Shut up. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Shut up, he says, through a lack of the usual bite. And Izuku knows that means he can say that there's some reason Kacchan wants him to stay. Oh, there's something in my hair. He turns he turns back to Otaru Sensei now, hands curling into fists at his sides. I won't get me into get can you get them to get can you get them to put me in those makeup lessons? Whatever I was always to say expected Katsuki to ask. It's certainly not that. And Izuku can sympathize with the look of other shock, confusion on the man's face, because he feels the same way. And his teacher echoes the exact thought that is in his mind when he speaks. Bakugo, you pass the licensing exam. Why? Because Katsuki shouts. But he cuts his, because yeah, but he cuts himself off almost instantly with a sharp growl and shake of his head. There is a pause before he continues. A where short angered breath lulls out. I passed by one useless point. So no so I won't no. I need to do this. One point means nothing. He shoves his hands in his pockets, pulling out his license. Um, and Ezekiel probably shouldn't be surprised when he destroys it in a quick, controlled explosion. That mean that shit means nothing to me. I haven't earned it. I need to earn it. As Zara Sensei sighed heavily, pinching the bridge of his nose, and Ezekiel recognized he was doing his own careful breathing exercises. He drops his hand He drops his hand a moment later and just looks tired. Alright, let me see what I can do. Oh. Alright, he says wearily. Let me see what I can do. Bakugo gives a jerky nod and turns on his heel, marching back towards the door. He pauses. He pauses for one. Oh, he pauses only once, across from Izuku, looking him in the eye. I'll catch back up, he promises. And that's all he says before he shoves through the door and leaves. Oof, I gotta be comfortable. There's a time after that Izuku wishes Katsuki hadn't done what he did. Times where when he wishes that he accepted the license it only meant if it only so he could fight at their side. Izuku spent a lot of time drowning in what ifs after the Shiki have I'm going to try to pronounce this as best as I can. I apologize if I cannot pronounce it. The Shiki Hazashiri. It's only natural it's only natural that he would wonder if they would have been far better with Bakugo and Todoroki at their side. He only wonders if he would have been far worse if Aizawa wouldn't say that in an interview when he did a month ago. When he did months ago. He he occasionally enters the idea of what would happen. What the idea of what happened was his fault, and that he was not worthy of one for all after all. But those intrusive thoughts are easily countered countered with his skill and learned in therapy. And he wishes that Katsuki had kept his license is easily countered as well. Ca- because he can tell the reme- the remedial course is helping. He sees it now. Enough times for he's seen it now. Enough times for his hope to feel real. A better Katsuki. One one who embraces the one who embraces teamwork with the right people. One who one who batters with his friends while he cooks dinner and accidentally makes too much. Always conver damn words are not always conveniently make enough for the whole class to eat. Katsuki and a Katsuki who started to get angry, to act impulsive on anger, but catches himself and stops before he escalates. He hasn't really figured out how to de-escalate yet, so he's eventually he so he usually just stomps away without addressing or solving the issue. But it's progress. Izuku Izuku technically lets himself see this progress, including him as well. Katsuki is more likely to lose control when Izuku is involved, but it, it doesn't happen every time now. He'll he even admit when a when a weak feeling of hope that happens less often than it doesn't. That is perhaps the only reason why Izuku agreed to talk to Katsuki when when Katsuki asked. It's it's different this time. It was in the middle of the day, and Katsuki tells him tells him where they were going. That they were. Anyway, Katsuki tells him where they were going this time, on a walk behind the dorms in the wooded areas. The final telling point is when he tells Izuku that Aizawa Sensei knows, and he may not trust Katsuki yet, but he does trust his teacher, so he agrees. The walk is silent, as they put distance between themselves and the dorm. It's not the comfortable silence that Izuku has with Aizawa Sensei and All Might, but he'll take it over tense and loud anger. They walked side by side throughout throughout of reach from the others until they reached a small clearing. Izuku stopped and let lets Katsu walk ahead of him. He doesn't turn around to face Izuku yet, and Izuku isn't in any rush to ask him. You, you're irritatingly smart, Katsuki says, and isn't that fun? Isn't that a fun start? So, so you probably would guess as that what we're doing out here. Izuku tense and takes a step back. At first, his foot scraps enough for Katsuki to hear him, and this time he does whips his face too. He does whip around to face Izuku, who looks back at him warily, already standing defensively. There was a there was a flash of anger in his eyes, and Izuku waits to see if his explosion follows. They don't. The anger fades, and Katsuki just looks. Izuku doesn't know. He doesn't know what that look is. He's never seen it on Katsuki's face before. We're not here to fight. Katsuki says briefly. I'm not pulling that shit again. Do you really think Aizawa Sensei would have agreed to this agreed to this if I was? Izuku considered that, and he tips his head in acknowledging the point. He says he stays in his defensive stance. Anyways, I guess I deserve that. And oh, the look on Katsu's face, his tone, it, the clear discomfort. I, I. Izuku could barely choke out a single word, and his eyes sting because he's doing this in front of Katsuki. I'm not, I'm not, Katsuki says firmly. I am not apologizing. If, even if that's what Izuku wanted to hear, it doesn't stop him, it doesn't stop his stomach from sinking. It doesn't stop the last shred of hope he clinged on to from taking a swan dive. Hey, Katsuki snapped. Izuku realized that He's looking down, clenching his fists so tight are his nails are almost breaking the skin. He jerks his head up on instinct and meeting Taxi's eyes. I'm not apologizing yet. I thought of I thought through it. I'm I'm ready to. It's fuck. It's overdue, okay? It's long overdue. But if I do it now, it'll be for me. And for my own selfish reasons. I need my needs, not yours. And that's I won't do that. Izuku's teeth clench shut so tight it might hurt his head. He's shaking, and he feels something is buzzing under under his skin, under on his skin, and under his skin, everywhere. Katsuki hands up and shoves his hands up into his hair, and Izuku could tell he's feeling it too. Everyone always says shit about how you're supposed to start an apology and then back it up with doing better. But fuck. Ugh, he growls, twisting his hands in his hair. That's that's not right for us. He scowls. Not that Izuku passed Izuku passed him, maybe at himself. I don't deserve it yet. A chance to the chance the chance to apologize. I haven't earned that. If if I say it now, I don't know if I mean it in the way I should. And you need to be able to believe you you need to be able to believe it when I say it. So I am here asking what you need first before we get there. Is Zubu having a hard time breathing and trying to figure out when he started crying because there was a steady flow of tears running down his face. His nose is fogged up, and he's still he still hasn't stopped trembling. His head shaking slowly at first, and then faster. I don't know. He choked out. I don't know. I don't. Hey! Oh, that was louder than I expected. Sorry. I forget I'm not mad. Hey, Patsy said sharply. Not not cruelly, not angry, just loud. Just to get his attention. Cut through the panic. That's fine. Okay? That's fine. I can wait. You've waited a long time for this. For me, it's fine. I can wait. I'll earn it. Got it? Xavier doesn't know what he does next. Maybe he sobs, maybe he laughs, maybe it's both. But he feels himself nodding. Okay, he finally says, I got it, Kacchan. Um, Katsuki doesn't snap or snarl at the nickname. He smiles. There's a bit there's a bit too much teeth, too much curl in his lip, Izuku but Izuku can see it. You can see the glimpses of the better Kacchan, and he knows he can wait too. He can hold out his hand, and he knows they have a chance uh, when Kacchan takes it without hesitation. Okay, I have messed up so many times during this book, and then I would just interrupt myself and I'll say things, and I realized I was doing that towards the end. Um, because I did it right when I said, "Hey," and then I hope that "hey" was not too loud. Um, I'm trying to get my thoughts in order. Okay, that's all for today. Make sure to like if you enjoyed this fic so far. Make sure to make sure to subscribe and press the bell if you would like to hear would like to see slash hear more podfic. And if you have any fics that you would like to hear podfic, let me know in the comments section and that you would like to hear them. Okay, so um I should have done that after I talked some more. Okay, so four I have tomorrow and Thursday, and then I have Monday. I might can do Tuesday, and then Wednesday. On Thursday, I cannot. Okay, on Thursday, next Thursday, I am going to be going back to school. So, my schedule is going to be hectic. It's going to be, I can post, I'm going to try at least post once a week. If I can manage once a week, every week. 'Cause, like, I can do that. I know I can do that. But I don't know. Just give me a second. Uh, I don't know. But between, it's like, my fall break is probably more like up in September. So, like September, November, between there. I'm pretty sure it's in November. But, that week I'll try to post every day and like a couple times a day. Um, I'm going to try my best to, how is this? Yeah, I already said, to post about once a week, and if I can manage at least once a week, we can do this. But anyways, um, make sure you go leave kudos on this author's page. Go check out, please go check out the rest of their stories. I have found this one and I like how it's written. I'm going to go through their profile a little more to see if I just look at more fics. Because I like how they wrote this. Um, that's all I can think of. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I will see y'all next time. Um, I'm going to take a break before I do another fic and post it. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoy this and have a lovely day.